What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar for today, what you should be watching for as we approach the FOMC minutes, and what's going on with some earnings that just came out, alongside the news about Tesla. But before I break things up, all this information, before I talk about what the chart is suggesting, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500 into the account, you are guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 free stocks. And this offer ends very, very soon. Anyways, when looking at Tesla, as you guys can see, this thing is on a downtrend as of right now. But the question is, can we try to establish a temporary higher low relative to this low? Because Tesla hit this low right here at this 189 area, tried to rebound a bit. Now it's coming back down. But you guys can see it's still hovering above this previous trend line of resistance, which is now becoming support. And if we could hold above 190, there's a good chance Tesla could make an attempt to push just a little higher temporarily, right? I'm not saying it's going to last forever, just temporarily, because we have the FOMC minutes coming up very soon. So what's going on with the markets? We had Bostic basically giving a speech this morning. Didn't really say much. At 11:30 a.m. today, guys, watched the 17-week bill auction, the 2-year auction coming out. So little moves could be coming at that time. Then at 1 p.m. we have Bowman from the Fed giving a speech. A little bit of a hawk is going to be talking. And then besides that, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the FOMC minutes, which are going to be quite important. This could affect the market to some extent, so long as everything isn't fully priced in just yet. Now, the minutes, once again, will give us more insights about the Fed, what these officials are thinking, and we're going to be watching to see if there are any adjustments to the next Fed rate target probabilities, so I'll be watching for that as well. For a couple of pieces of news affecting the markets, right now, it's very important to remember that uh, tech right now is still affecting the market to a large extent, especially the S&P 500. And we're going to be looking for a big catalyst for tech because the entire tech sector is going to be dictated by Nvda. Nvda is going to be part of this, like this big sentiment that the semiconductors are going to be the big winners, and then we'll have to see if that ends up being the case. So earnings is coming out very soon. We'll see how this ends up affecting things. And remember that Nvidia is the third most valuable US company behind Microsoft and Apple. This is very important stuff. Now, Walgreens Boots Alliance, it's basically out, and Amazon's in. The S&P Dow Jones Indices announced on Tuesday that the tech behemoth will replace the drugstore retailer in the rebalance, and that's something that's happening right now with increased consumer retail exposure. So that's actually something new that's going on right now. Not the best of news for Walgreens, but it is what it is, guys. We just have to continue forward. There's also something that's going on. Basically, there's a joint venture from Disney, Fox, and Warner Bros., and they're going to be facing their first challenge in the new sports streaming services. So Fubo TV filed a lawsuit against the media giants over what's called extreme suppression of competition in the U.S. sports-focused streaming market. So with that lawsuit going on, not the best of news for Disney. It's something worth noting. And the last big piece of news is the fact that American Airlines is raising baggage fees for the first time since 2018. This is happening, so this tends to happen amidst more costs for the company and other factors. So with that coming out, something worth noting. If you're interested in the stock, that news is for you. Excuse me. So for today, in the morning, we had Wingstop and Wix announcing their earnings. I'll talk about these in just a minute. Then we also have Nvidia in the afternoon after the market closes today. That's going to be huge. It's going to dictate the market. So get ready for Nvidia. For Wix, they ended up actually beating on EPS and revenue with strong estimates and good guidance. So this thing is actually running good growth with total sales up 14% year over year with $403.8 million beating estimates. So good earnings, which helped this thing pump. And for Wingstop, we had good net growth in 2023 in record sales. We had 13% growth in global restaurant locations, a nice increase in about the domestic same-store sales growth, and the net income also increased by 32%, which is actually really good. So record sales for them, good forecast. You guys can see this forecast are looking pretty good, and good performances for the next quarter. So good guidance, great earnings, record sales helped Wingstop explode. Great news for them. Now, as far as Tesla is going, the news is saying that Tesla has been blocked from expanding its charging network in the Sweden dispute. So a lot of things going on right now in Sweden. We're still seeing them essentially blocking different ports, blocking Tesla from expanding its charging networks, and this is getting a lot of news and attention. So a little bit negative news for Tesla's come out. It's part of why it's down so far. I'm seeing a lot of negative articles about Tesla cutting prices, which is driving the car values down. There's truth behind this, but this had to do with demand and also other factors. But Tesla's doing what it can to keep its sales up, and things will improve later on. I do believe that there isn't really like a massive concern to the point where I would just like panic and sell Tesla. I'm not really reaching that point. I just see this as another buying opportunity. The more this thing dips, and with this news coming out, it is what it is. But it's not really the end of the world, in my opinion. So for Tesla, we're still downtrending right now. Let's see if we could hold this high. If we lose this high, we're going to be sinking to 188. If we could hold 190, this thing could rebound later on and start pushing back up to 192, if not 195. So as far as it goes, it is downtrending. Watch this yellow trend line of support. We could hover around here, get close to 190, but then watch and see if it's going to hold that. If we hold that, we could rebound to 192, then 195, and then maybe a little higher. If we fail to hold 190, there's going to be a risk of us coming down to 188 and continuing this downtrend. I think that there's a good chance Tesla is going to sink, but then we might see a little bounce if we could establish a higher low right here. Relative to this low, basically, if we establish a higher low here, then we could rebound just a little bit. My gut tells me that's going to likely be the case. So we might see a little attempt by Tesla to push later on today, at least approaching the FOMC minutes. So I'm not saying that Tesla's going to run forever. I'm just saying that as we approach the minutes, look for a little potential bounce in the markets before we start to trade sideways. I think the same thing about SPY. SPY is kind of downtrending right now, but look and see where we base at. Do we base right here at this higher low at 495, or do we come all the way down to 494? If we lose 494, our next target is 492, followed by 490. But I don't know if we're going to drop that low. I'm going to be watching to see where we base, and I'm going to be looking for a little rebound. Once we rebound, watch us approach 496 flat, 497.8 to about 498. I think we might see a little attempt to rebound to about 497.5 to 498 area, depending on where we base at. So let's see if we base at 495, if not 494, rebound and push up to the 497s to 498 area, then come back down and trade sideways. That's what I'm predicting for as we approach the FOMC minutes. So watch for that very carefully on SPY. On the QQQ, it's the same thing that I am seeing. I think this thing is going to try to base around 423.8, if not 422. We'll see if this holds, though. That's going to be very critical. Then watch and see if we get a rebound to 427. 427 is resistance, followed by 429 to 430 and 432. We might drop, rebound, push back up to these high levels at 427 to 429, then come back down and trade sideways. So look for a little drop, a bounce to higher levels, and then back down to trade sideways. I'll be watching for that very, very carefully. For Nvda right now, let me just double check this. So we got this big rejection here. It's been kind of sinking, but we're going to be watching to see if this could base at 680. If we lose this, we could be sinking towards 675 before we attempt to bounce. Nvidia is still looking kind of weak, guys, so be very careful with it. Watch resistance at 687, 693, and then 700. It is looking a little weak. It could sink a little lower to about 675 or so, but then I think it's just going to consolidate for a bit. I think we're just waiting for earnings, so I'm not really expecting it to move crazily. It could show some sideways price action. Then we're going to be watching for a bounce later on. So it might drop to about 675 or so, rebound a bit to 693, and just trade sideways. That's all I'm really seeing for now. And then don't forget the moves Nvidia makes doesn't really matter as much for now. What's going to matter the most is going to be its earnings. So just get ready, and we'll see what happens to it. It might just trade sideways for the time being within these ranges. So watch support at the 675 area, 670. Watch resistance at 693 to 700, and it might just trade sideways for now. And for Aapl is showing some life. So watch support at 181.36 and 180. Watch resistance at 182.5 and 183.5. So this grabbed liquidity down here. Now we're going to likely see Aapl attempts to rebound just a bit. So we might see some buyers try to push Aapl higher. I'll be watching to see if they could defend it. So watch that very, very carefully, at least for the time being. On the 4-hour time frame, I'm also seeing some signs that Apple's going to try to push to at least 182. 0.8. So I do see a little bounce coming to Apple, and we'll be watching to see if this helps SPY. SPY will likely gap down, but we're going to be watching a little rebound soon. Watch it base. It's going to base soon before it tries to rebound. I think that Tesla may attempt to follow the trend, but let's just see how well it holds 190. As long as we hold this 190 area, we could attempt to rebound, but if we fail to do so, we'll then watch 188 and 187.5. But I think that Tesla will try to base soon and try to rebound temporarily with SPY in the markets. But not saying it's going to last forever. This is just approaching the FOMC minutes. So look and see if the market drops a bit, rebounds, then trades sideways, approaching the FOMC minutes, and then look for a big move once the minutes come out. We'll see how it goes. But with that being said, guys, thank you for listening. Make sure you watch your levels, do what you have to do. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you again. Tesla in the market to the moon, and peace out.